Hey,
Y'all
Marcus.
doing? Thank you
Good.
for having me on here today. Sitting here, I hope you I know see the camera catching my eye, catch glimpses of the school. I'm a hurricane. I wanted to do the show today, so I'm watching them. They're starting to unravel a little bit in the second half, and the heart that's carried them through the tournament is starting to, do what like Liz said earlier, what 10 seeds do, starting to show their true colors. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much longer they're gonna survive, but hopefully we'll pull out a miracle, and you won't have to see me get too unraveled while I'm on the show.
In the middle of the show. So if we hear you screaming out hard, then we know what that's about, right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
All right, Marcus. Well, I,
absolutely.
I have a clip of your last visit to our show where you shared your terrifying story dealing with COVID. So let me play that real quick.
I do remember getting wheeled to an actual hospital room and watching TV for a while, and then after that, I don't remember anything for the next. I guess I was out for 15, 16 days under sedation. While I was under sedation, I had a series of issues. I had to have two dialysis sessions because of my kidney. Apparently, I had a kidney issue. I had two blood transfusions. I also had some internal bleeding, and I developed clots in both my left leg and my right hand. So the tips of my right index finger and my thumb were pitch black when I woke up, and the tip of my pinky was pitch black when I woke up. I said, "Look, I felt the finger trying to push the tip up, and I was in extraordinary pain. And
Mm.
I told him, I said, if my quality of life will be better, just go ahead and take them off. I was in the hospital for 29 days total, and then they transported me to a rehab center where I was there for I was supposed to be there for 15 days. They let me out in 11. The only reason I know about it is, from my mother and my daughter and other folks that spoke, that spoke to me post that. There were a lot of text messages, mainly from my daughter that I read that that broke my heart. She was a trooper. She called the hospital every day. She she talked to the nurses. From what I understand, she got into, they had some issues with one of the nurses or whatever. But she was the first voice that I heard when I woke up.
Wow. That was a harrowing story when we were listening to it. I remember it clearly. I mean, we've talked
Yeah.
about you several times on the show since. How are you
Yeah.
feeling now?
I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm fully recovered for the most part. I'm listening to myself speak because I think that's actually improved within the last several months. For a while, there was some hesitations, and I still hear them a little bit, over in recent dialogues. Whereas, there may be sound like I'm struggling to breathe,
Mm.
but I don't really hear them now. So I know that area has improved at least over the last 6 months. Personally, everything is good. Like I said, guys know I have a law firm that I run out of here in Chicago. I've had, since then, I've added staff. I'm able to take time off when I need to take time off. Me and my daughter have been able to, continue our great relationship, and I spend as much time with her as possible. Even though I'm in Chicago, she's in Atlanta. We try to meet up if I don't go down there. She comes here during the summer because she hates the cold. But she'll come during the summertime. We're going to New York this week because we got some things. She's a singer, and we've got some things going on in New York. Not this week, in April. So we travel uh, quite a bit together. So, but everything is good overall. Overall, so
Right. Lizzie and Micah, feel free to jump in here, but I know you released a book of a memoir of your experiences. So can you tell us about that?
yes.
How's it doing?
The book is doing good as far as I'm concerned. We I wrote the book. It's called "I Ain't Done Living Yet." I was planning to have a copy sitting here next to me, but
Oh,
I didn't bring one.
I got you
Put one
covered.
next to me. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I ain't done living yet. It was when I woke up from COVID. I can't explain it, but it was just something on me. I got to tell my story, and that's I was in, as you guys know, I was in the hospital for 29 days on a ventilator for 15 days. spent another 14 additional days in the hospital, and then got released to a rehabilitation center, rehab center, because I couldn't walk. I couldn't do basic functions like brush my teeth, tie my shoe, things of that nature. But I wanted to tell my story, and at the time, I wasn't able to see guests or anything in the hospital room. But my mother was able to deliver a notebook to my rehab center so that I could start writing notes, things that I didn't want to forget when it came time to actually writing the book. And then I was able to get my paralegal and office manager, Terry. She actually brought my laptop to the rehab center. So we were laughing with the nurses. They said, "You are the only patient in here that's actually working." And I reminded them. I didn't tell them at the time I was writing the book, but I told them that I was a solo practitioner. We had to. I had to work. I kill what I eat in order to make a living, and I've got people that rely on me. Staff members, my family members, and things of
Mhm.
that nature. So, but the book is mainly about. I'm sorry, I know I got a little off topic.
Oh, that's
The book
fine.
is really
Yeah. I remember you telling
my
that story.
yeah, it's really about my struggles with COVID, but also took it as an opportunity to chronicle a lot of important things that I overcame throughout my life early on in terms of things that happened at the undergraduate level at the University of Illinois, things that happened, as far as me becoming an attorney and going to law school, the time I spent in Atlanta homeless that a lot of people didn't know about.
Oh, I didn't know
Um, you
about
know,
that.
yeah, I spent several days. I was working for GE Electric at the time, and I spent time in my truck, my good old 2003 Ford Explorer. That I used to sleep in the parking lot of the hotel that was right next door to my office in Alpharetta. I would go down in the morning. I would go to LA Fitness, work out, shower, and come back to work. Fully dressed like if nothing ever happened.
Mhm.
But that was probably in the 2012 time frame. So it was an opportunity to tell all those stories in the one. Of course, the story about me becoming an attorney. It took me. I graduated from law school in 2010. It took me 7 times to pass the bar before I finally passed it in 2017. I'm sure you can find a clip of me on Facebook crying on Facebook saying I'm finally passed. So that thing like so. I finally got licensed in 2017. So here we are, 5 years now. And like I said, I run a firm out of here that practices primarily in real estate, probate, and estate planning, and we're doing extremely well. And looking to expand to other areas in other cities after 5 years is my 5 year period that I anniversary that I'll reach later in June this year.
Nice.
So,
There's my
That's awesome. So I was not able to hear your previous appearance on the show. How did you
mm.
end up getting COVID? Do you know? Can you like pinpoint it or?
The only thing that makes sense is that I had a birthday party at a venue about a week before I started showing symptoms. It was a performance here in Chicago that I actually had my daughter come down and perform, which we've always done it on our birthdays. And I was fine a week leading, afterwards, and then somewhere around, like I said, about a week later, is when I woke up with symptoms where I couldn't. I think I had diarrhea and dehydration. So when my doctor, when I first talked to him, he never thought. He said to this day he never thought I had COVID because that's weren't system. Those weren't the symptoms that they stated that were clear signs of COVID at the time. So he told me to get some Imodium D for the diarrhea and get some Gatorade or Pedialyte for the uh, what's the oh God, I just forgot it.
For the
The
dehydration.
dehydration.
dehydration. Thank you. Oh man.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
had symptoms for a couple of days, for 2 or 3 days, and then finally on day three, my brother came by to do a wellness check, and I live at that time I lived in the on the third floor in my building. I live on the first floor now ever since COVID, but at the time he tried to, ring my doorbell, get into the building. He called me because I was in the bedroom sleep, and he said, "Come go open the door." And I tried to walk to the door,
and I collapsed in front of the door. And I said, bring somebody else. And I had my phone with me, and I could text him, ring somebody else's bell because I can't get back up to reach the door. So he rang my neighbor's door across the hall. She let him in, and she came walked across the hall. We had electronic locks, so I opened the front door, and she saw me sitting there on the floor. And by the time he made it up the stairs, they helped me get to the couch, and he immediately called 911. And that's when I live 3 blocks away from University of Chicago Hospital here in Hyde Park, a neighborhood in Chicago. So within about half hour, I was at the hospital, and at some point, I guess they tested me for COVID and told me that I tested positive. Told me that we're going to have to, at that time the only way to treat COVID patients was apparently to put them on a ventilator.
Hmm.
I know a lot of things we know now they don't necessarily have to put you on a
You
ventilator.
know, there's more treatments
I often
available.
wonder,
Yeah.
yeah. So I wonder, if knowing what I know now, if a lot of the things that happened to me had to happen, because I was on a ventilator. I remember, you guys remember, I had internal bleeding, I had pneumonia, I had to have 2 emergency dialysis
Yep. Yep.
sessions, kidney issues. I had blood clots in my leg and in my fingers, which is caused my fingers to have to be amputated, the tips of them to have to be amputated. It's a lot of things that I know now that we didn't know then. So I guess in a sense, I don't look back on it and say, I look at it as a bad experience. It is what it is. It's my story now,
Yep.
and for whatever reason, God kept me here to tell this story, to do the things that He saw fit for me to do, to continue to do. I mean, I've had a you know, great 2 years since the last time I was on the show.
Yeah.
I've
That's awesome.
traveled, quite a bit. I've gone to all kind of sporting events. I'm a big Bears fan. I got a chance to go there, see them in LA, sit in the front row at SoFi Stadium. I got to go get rented a suite, rented a box in Vegas for the Raiders game, and I was able to treat my family on Thanksgiving Day to the Bears Lions games in Detroit.
Wow.
So I went to the Field of Dreams game in Iowa where they filmed the
Wow.
actual Field of Dreams movie
Mhm.
Hmm.
when the White Sox and the Yankees played, and witnessed a walk-off home run by the White Sox in the bottom of the ninth inning. I mean, it
So
was
you
just amazing.
so you're
I've had
enjoying
amazing.
life.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
so it changed your outlook. So nearly dying changed your outlook,
Yeah.
obviously.
I think so. It's just a matter of I'm gonna enjoy life because none of us knows the end of our days here. We don't know exactly
That's
when
right.
it'll be. Only thing that we can control is the quality of life that we have on here.
Yep.
And for all the things, obviously I make saving, I save money, more so for the future and for my kid and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you can't take none of this with you. There's nothing, I can't sit there wrap my arms around cash and take it in the casket with me and, it's going to go up to heaven with me, so might as well, you enjoy the time I'm here as I see Kansas has stretched out their lead on my Canes.
I just looked at the score. I just looked at the score.
Right, right. So, I want to, make time to enjoy things here. I've gotten a chance to travel with my dad. We've gone through several games over the past year, and like I told you, my daughter and I, she did a little mini tour last June through July. We call it the Chitlin tour. Don't ask why,
Chitlin
but
tour.
it was some of the promoters set up for her, and we did it just because she's up and coming. So,
Nice.
uh, but we've had, I've had a great time, and that's I'm just focused on, I'm 45, just turned 45, maybe about 2 weeks ago on
Oh,
March 10th.
youngin.
Oh yeah. So I'm just trying to enjoy life, because none of it's not promised to us,
It's not.
past tomorrow.
It's not.
And my story almost got cut short at 43.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing to be here. I think even I think I talked a little bit about the strained relationship between me and my stepfather in my book.
You
And
did.
since
Well, I think you talked about it briefly in the show,
yeah,
last show.
right. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of that has changed. I just realized, there's a lot that I benefit from, him being in my life. I'm
That's
still
awesome.
praying on, my other daughter that I don't have the relationship that, I have with Amber, the one I would always talk about. But, someday, I'm hoping to have that picture to post on my social media where all of us are together. Because
Oh,
I have,
wonderful.
another daughter here in Chicago. and a grandbaby that I've never met before.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
uh, so all that's important to me, and I'm prayerful that the time will heal that situation as well. But in the meantime, I'm just going to live the life and work with what I got. You know, enjoy it.
It's good to hear your perseverance. I mean, it actually, I mean, I got to promo the Beyond the Scars podcast. It sounds like it'd be perfect for you actually to be on there, kind of talk about where you come from. Um,
Yeah.
so actually, let me real quick do that. Just got to remind everyone, check out the Beyond the Scars podcast with Gianni and Olivia. Real people, real stories of perseverance. Subscribe today anywhere you get your podcast or find them at www.beyondthescars.show.